If we don't want to crash the program due to errors, instead we want the program to detect the errors, handle them, and continue to run. See, we have the thing that whenever we execute a program, we don't want to halt our program due to the errors. We want our program to be continue to run. Okay, and I need some way to handle those errors. So there we exist with a concept called exception handling. You can see with this example, diff spam divide by, okay, return 42, then division operator divide by. So this is my function called spam, and you passed with some variable argument, it is divide by, and here we are returning a value after dividing 42 by the value whichever you passed as an argument. Here first time if I call print spam of 2, that means I am calling a function spam with a argument 2, so it will call your spam with a 2 divide by uh, argument will contain with a now value 2. So I try to divide it 42 by uh, 2, so it gets some value, so that value will be returned back to print statement. So now it is going to print a value 21. Okay, so point 0 prints. Again, when I call with the second time spam 12. Okay, so now here I passed the argument is 12 and 42 is divided by 12. So again it returns a value, and this result will be printed by print statement is 3.5. But when I try to do print spam of 0, okay, so in this case what happens, I passed a value 0, so when I try to divide 42 by 0, so uh, it is not a proper division, so it will be getting with an error. Okay, so that time like we cannot perform division by 0, so this error will be raised and your program will be get terminated. Okay, even though you have another statement to execute here, but the statement will not be executed, and your program will be get terminated. So this I don't want to make it to happen for program, because even though I have another set of codes of my program is to be executed, but before that itself your program get terminated means it is not that efficient program. So to handle the situations we go with a concept called exception handling. Okay, so that is what explanation. So a zero division error happens whenever we try to divide a number by 0. Okay, so now errors can be handled with a try and except statement. So what in exception handling we have a two keywords called try and except statement. Okay, the code that could potentially have an error is put in a try clause. The program execution moves to the start of a following except clause if an error happens. We can put the previous division by 0 code in a try class and have an except class contain a code to handle what happens when this error occurs. See, what we have to do is in exception handling we are using a two classes, one is try class and one more is except class. Whichever the line of code which causes an error will keep those lines of code inside the try block, and after an error has occurred and after exception has to be raised, so that time once exception has raised, what things to be done, it that particular statement you have to you have to keep it inside the except block. So once this except block will be executed, then the program will not halt, it continues back to the next statement, it is whatever it is there in the program. So we are going to handle this exception by using try and except class. So you can see this the same last example what we seen. Okay, we have uh, replaced with a try and. Okay, so diff you have spam divide by, then try class we are keeping return 42 by divide by, except, okay, except if you know the exception name you can write it down here, otherwise simply you can use except colon, it is enough. See, for every block you should use a colon. Okay, here see except 0 division by 0, this is an exception name. Okay, then again colon, print error invalid argument. Okay, so now I try to execute the same way, print spam of 2 will get executed, you will get a value, and again spam of 12 also will be executed, you will get a value 3.5. When you try to execute spam of 0, Okay, so this will causes a try block to raise an exception, and it goes to the accept block, and it's going to print a statement called error invalid argument. Once you've done with that, then print spam of 1. That means you continue with the execution of the program. So you pass this argument to 1. Again, you try to divide it 42 by 1. So you'll get divided, and that answer will be returned back to print statement. I'll get here it is 42.0. So you have here a simple program, write a Python program to convert temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So now this is like just conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit or Fahrenheit to Celsius. So this thing can even be written down by using exception handling concept. So that is what we have taken with an example here. You can see there in you have this input, enter a Fahrenheit temperature. You are going to enter a temperature in terms of Fahrenheit. So by using your input function, so whatever the answer you have or whatever the value you have entered, it will be stored in the form of string inside the variable called inp. Then you have a try. So you have try here, you try to convert it. So first you are converting this variable value to floating point. So after converting to floating point, you're keeping it in another variable called FAHR. Then you're converting FAHR by using this formula. You are going to convert this Fahrenheit to into Celsius. If FAHR minus 32.0 into 5.0 divided by 9.0. So these things you are converting it, and after converting you're keeping into another variable called cell. So now print cell. So now after converting, so this formula you have to use it for conversion from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay, temperature can be converted from Fahrenheit to Celsius by using this formula, and you are keeping it in the variable called cell. Then you're going to print it. So if you get any error here, so that time you are going to be moving to accept class. So it prints a please enter a number. Okay, so this is what program we have it for conversion from Fahrenheit to temperature, that is in Celsius, and that will be get displayed in terms of Celsius itself. So thank you for supporting me. So we'll continue with other Python programming concept in the next sessions. Thank you.